Okay, so a few of you have been consistently asking me to make another Stomped video, and I guess I finally got an idea. So figured might as well go ahead and make it and post it just to keep the viewers satisfied. So today I bring you the top 10, in my opinion, most difficult challenges in Stomped. Now, there's many different challenges, most of which are obviously impossible to achieve. So I'm just simply doing the top 10 that are the most difficult but are possible. And so first on the list we have probably the most popular one, 10,000 points. It has been achieved by only one player, Minty, during the certificate downage era, during which scoring was much easier. Unfortunately, there is no other proof of the score other than what you're being shown here. This score is obviously extremely hard to get and is most likely impossible to achieve without help or left corner camping. I myself have gotten within 1,000 points of 10,000 twice, but neither time did I achieve the score. There are no known images or recordings of a player at 10,000, but there is currently a slow-moving project that some of my friends started to try and get a documented 10,000 with proof other than it being on the leaderboards. The results of the project are still yet to be seen. 10,000 points requires a lot of skill and a ton of luck, since really if you get hit at all past 6,000, it would take too much to recover, so basically the run is lost. Bot swarms become a problem, especially along with high score hunters. There's not very many, but you know, if you're above 5,000 and a high score hunter gets on you, then you're pretty much screwed. Help in corner camping I would strongly recommend for the challenge. I mean, within reason, of course. Solo 10,000 would be absolutely insane, but I doubt there will ever be any to exist. So basically, this challenge can't be achieved unless you have the most near-perfect score run you can get. The next challenge, as some of you may have guessed, is 1,000 kills. Now, it's more about endurance and aggressiveness rather than skill and luck, and it takes a patient, determined player to achieve. As far as I know, I'm currently the only player that has a run with over 1,000 kills, but there could be other players out there that have them, I just don't know. This achievement is extremely difficult due to the fact of how long you have to survive. Not only do you have to be consistently getting kills, but you also have to stay at a high score, so it takes a lot to kill you. And beware of death hazards such as swarms, hunters, and spawners. I recommend not to corner camp in either corner during this challenge because the kills per minute is much slower there and will result in a much longer, more agonizing run, and also more room for something to go wrong. The best place to get kills at a high rate is the top because of the high frequency of spawners, but that's also risky due to an instant spawn kill. Like if you're at like 950 kills, been playing for an hour and a half, and some guy spawns on you, then that's it. Of course, assuming they kill you when they spawn on you. That's how I died on my 1,000 kills run. Of course, just like every challenge, 1,000 kills does require a little luck, but it's mostly about staying focused, not giving up, and making sure you're consistently getting kills. Don't get distracted by your score or other players on that might try to battle you because it will slow your kill gathering. Third challenge is none other than the 2-hour survival. Now, the 2-hour survival and the 1,000 kills sort of play hand in hand since it takes about an hour and 40 minutes to get 1,000 kills. To my knowledge, only 2 people have achieved 2-hour survivals, Chief Wahoo and Mr. L. I almost have one on my 1,000 kills run, but I died about 6 minutes short. 2-hour survival is just like 1,000 kills in endurance, but it's less about being aggressive and more about just staying alive. I recommend you always stay at least 3 times bigger than second place, so even if they did get you, it would take a few hits for them to kill you. Try to avoid places that might be dangerous or could get you killed, and stay away from the top of the map at all costs, as your chance of dying up there is much higher than it is anywhere else. 2-hour survival requires a bit of luck and a lot of endurance, as well as some knowledge of how to play so you can avoid threats and stay alive. Personally, this is one of my least favorite challenges, but other players seem to enjoy long runs. There's another wasp in my room. This is like the 5th one today. I swear to God, I'm gonna do something about it in a little bit. I'm about to go out there and with the spray and figure out where their nest is. Anyway, the fourth challenge is Top of Day Takeover. Now, taking over any of the 3 leaderboards poses as a challenge, and honestly, I think all of them would belong here, but for the sake of just keeping things short, I'm going to put, in my opinion, the most difficult one, for me at least, and leave out the other 2, which is Top of Day. I have 2 complete Top of Day takeovers, one of which was done during the certificate downage era. Avian has one as well, I believe, but I have no proof of this, so I'm not certain. This challenge is difficult for many reasons. You have to beat whatever the highest current score is on top of day 10 times, and you have 24 hours to do it before the leaderboard resets. This may be even more difficult than the other longevity runs because you have to start at 0 and get a high score 10 times in a row. Well, technically you have to start at 10 points, but it's pretty much 0, you know. Stupid game mechanics. Toward the end, players tend to get tired and it gets more difficult to score. Not to mention that if someone else gets high score at all that day that made it to the leaderboard, it would completely screw with your takeover and you'd have to rebeat however big they got however many times. I suggest hunting anyone else past 3,000 points when you're trying to do the takeover so they won't beat any of your scores. Just like all other challenges, this does require some luck, but it requires endurance and the ability to quickly gain points even more. Having help is always nice and makes things easier. It seems easy to do at first, but it gets tiring toward the end and more difficult. Now, this next challenge is by far the one that I hate the most, and it is Pacifist 1000 points. Now, Pacifist 1000 points, or 1000 points with no kills, is more about patience than anything. Most players find this challenge boring, and if I'm correct, Bob is the only player that has over 1000 points with no stomps at all. So basically, he's the only one that's ever completed this challenge. The challenge is difficult and quite frustrating, as you can only gain score by collecting stars. You can't kill or even hit anyone, and if someone hits you, you can't get them back. You also have to worry about players or bots that go under you and end up being accidentally killed or hit. Of course, you'd have to start over if that was the case. It's a frustrating challenge that requires a lot of patience, and I've tried it a few times, but it's always been more annoying than fun to me. For obvious reasons. I mean, who would enjoy something as absurd as this? Insert depressed sigh. This challenge is 99% about patience. Do you have the patience to avoid players and bots, and to gain score purely by collecting stray stars? Stray stars that could have all kinds of weird diseases. Now, I've noticed every time I start a new clip, it sounds like I'm eating my microphone, but I assure you I am not eating my microphone. Although I do enjoy eating things that aren't food sometimes, I would never eat something so expensive as a $15 headset from Best Buy. Actually, it was from Target, but I like to leave the details out of things. Anyway, challenge number 6 is double 4,000 plus. Now, it's a different type of challenge than the others as it requires teamwork. To my knowledge, the only double 4,000 is in existence is between me and XD. And it was, I wish I could say it was easy, but it wasn't. It just wasn't. It was super difficult. And it was difficult because it requires reliance on another player as well as yourself to achieve. You have to be mindful of the other player and make sure you don't get in each other's way. You also have to make sure you near and pass the 4,000 mark at around the same time, because if one player passes it way before the other, chances are they'll get hit before the other player reaches the score. This will usually only work if it's coordinated, which mine and XD's was. Well, I had another almost double 4,000 with XD, but when I was at 4,500 and he was at 3,700, I lagged and I accidentally killed him. It was very sad. And I almost have a double 4,000 with Wu Feng that wasn't coordinated, but he got hit and it took him below 4,000 like 2 seconds before I passed 4,000. Anyway, the challenge is mostly just about not getting hit and being mindful of your partner. I recommend that whoever gets to 4,000 first goes to the left corner, so they'll not only be more safe, but also they'll be out of the other player's way. Now, our next challenge may come as a surprise to some people, but it's getting stuck above the map. And it's not so much a skill challenge as it's more of a luck challenge. It's a rather mundane challenge, but it's so difficult because it requires the perfect maneuver at the perfect timing in the perfect situation. I don't think any players have gotten stuck above the map, only bots have, rarely. In order to get stuck above the map, you basically have to spawn on someone while their head is touching the ceiling of the map and instantly spam the stomp button. They have to be big enough for you to be able to spam them multiple times without killing them, and it has a chance of propelling you up over the roof and getting stuck. Now, I don't know what it looks like or if you just disappear on your screen, but you're stuck above the roof since there's no screenshots or clips of it or anything. This one is basically just all about luck and reaction time and is by far one of the rarest challenges to complete. Okay, so challenge number 8 is another unusual one that I also find very frustrating. Getting 4,000 points without using the smash attack at all. It's another frustrating one in my opinion that personally I'd never want to try, but I'm still putting it here due to its, I guess, difficulty. 4,000 points with no smash attack, no mouse click, no down arrow key, no space bar, none of that. This means you can't use the attack button at all, even if there's no one below you. You're restricted to just floating down on players or bots, which doesn't seem so hard, but people also use the smash attack to get out of sticky situations, such as being trapped under a ledge. Not being able to use this makes you much more vulnerable to things that would normally be really easy to avoid. Yet another challenge that I don't even see the point in trying, but I recall a player called Shushuo, Shuo, doing the challenge like 4 years ago. I don't think he ever got 4,000 though. I think he got like 3,600 was the highest he got with it. Or at least that's what he says. Challenge number 9, and in my opinion, the most difficult challenge that requires like pretty much expertise in every single field of Stomped. Go all the way across the map without touching a single star or gaining a single point, really. In my opinion, yes, this is the most difficult challenge of them all. This has to have everything play exactly in your favor, and it's extremely meticulous. In order to pull this off, you need to have over-the-top patience, luck, dodging skills, and predictability. Not only do you have to avoid every single star while traveling across the map from one end to the other, you also have to keep watch for players or bots that might target you. Stars also just materialize out of thin air sometimes, how they spawn, so basically, I mean, you could have a clear path, and then suddenly there's a star right there in front of you, so, I mean, really the only way to avoid that is just luck. If a player were to achieve this, it would be pretty groundbreaking. You also have to be lucky enough to spawn in a far corner of the map and go all the way down without touching a star. Because, I mean, if you spawn in the middle of the map, then, I mean, even if you went to a corner, it wouldn't count because you didn't spawn at the other corner. So yeah, basically this challenge is nearly impossible, but it's still achievable. You just need the absolute perfect run. Just like anything, if you keep trying, you'll eventually get it. Might take a few years or decades, though. Alright, challenge number 10. The final challenge. And this challenge is... Don't let them see you.